So I actually really liked a lot of things about Atomic Heart. Horny refrigerator was too much. Yeah. Like Ryuko said, game went hard on mute. I felt the music was good, but God, I hated the dialogue. Also, the guy saying crispy critters anytime anything happened was so weird. But it was a direct translation, so I mean, like, I guess. To Neon White type dialogue. No. Neon White's dialogue was cringe, but good. It was funny. It was like it embraced its own cringe, right? It was aware of itself. Atomic Heart was more like it thought it was actually good and cool, but also the translations weren't that good. So that kind of, played in because it wasn't initially in English. So you have to get a localization team. And then the way it was localized was kind of, I said English localization has been kind of bad lately. I agree. There have been a lot of games where the localization has just been like really weird. I don't know. I feel like some games do it well. Like I could speak on Kazan specifically because like the OG's Korean, so as I'm hearing the voices, I'm listening to what they're saying and then I'm looking at the translation and the subtitle. And while it doesn't all mean the same thing, it had the right meaning and the right feeling. So that one was done pretty well. So there are some examples out there, of good. I don't know. There's some games where like the translation is too literal and then it doesn't work for that audience. They're not thinking about audience, right? That's why it's called localization and not translation. It's to make it work for the people who are supposed to be playing it. And sometimes I feel like they're just doing translation. They're just kind of leaving it like that. Lately, any show you watch that's translated into English, but you keep the subtitles on, doesn't line up with the dialogue at all. Super weird. There are a lot of shows I watch on Netflix, and quite a few of them are originally Korean. The translations are often so wrong, and it's like they're getting the gist of what's being said, but the way they're saying it gives you a completely different impression of the person on the screen and what they said. I swear to God, the Korean translators are so bad. Also, there's something that really bothers me. They use the term nerve-wracking very often when translating. Whoever's on the Korean Netflix translation team, right, where they're translating from Korean to English, keeps spelling nerve-wracking wrong, and it's pissing me off. There's a W in that, as if you are being racked with tremors. To rack, W-R-A-C-K, right? They keep spelling it without the W, and it's pissing me off. How are you on a localization team and you can't spell this one word? And who's letting this happen on multiple shows? They're not using Google Translate. There are times where Google Translate would have done a better job on giving you the meaning of a thing that someone says. They try to like do cool localization. Like someone will be like, oh, I like that. And they'll translate it and the subtitle will say, that's dope. But the person said, that's really pretty. Like someone's like wearing an outfit and they're like, what do you think? And they're like, 이뻐. 이뻐 is like, it's pretty or it's nice looking. Oh, 이뻐. And then the subtitle says, that's dope. What the f is that? Like, that's not what they said, and it's not even the vibe of what they said. It's completely the wrong vibe. They didn't even use slang to say it looks nice. They used a normal word. The person didn't even use a slang term. And the way they're acting, the things they're saying, don't even give the impression that they would say that word in English either. So, like, I don't know, man. They accept it without a W in the UK. Use both forms of spelling. Yeah, well, I don't like it. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the translations from Korean to English are just so... They're like inserting all of this slang and all of this flavored language that has the wrong flavor. And it's like not what the person's saying at all. UK and US English are separate subtitle options. It's true. I just think it's important to use spellings of things that don't change the potential meaning. Therefore, adding the W is good. That's all. Isn't nerve-wrecking with an E? No, it's nerve-wracking. W-R-A-C-K. Let's hear the dictionary definition of wreck. It's like to be... What's the right word for this? To like subject you to something bad? It's more of like if someone is like racked with blank, it means that you're probably about to say they're racked with tremors. Like if someone is shivering, racked with shivers. That's kind of a way that you see that. And then when the word nerve-wracking comes up, they're using that version of rack. So it's to be... I guess incredibly stressed, and often it has this feeling of like there's emotion, like shuddering or shivering kind of associated with it. And that is kind of what you get out of that. When someone says, I feel very shaken, it's the same idea. It's the same visual, imagery that you get from that kind of word. So it comes from the same thing. Can it also mean rack as in racking an item, like putting it on a shelf? No, it doesn't. It doesn't share that meaning. It's not coming from the same use of the word. Yeah. It's just pronounced the same. You don't pronounce the W. W. We're talking about with the W. And that's why I think when they say nerve-wracking, they shouldn't accept the spelling of it without the W, because now you're mixing it up more commonly with another word that means something else. So it's better to just leave the W on so people can see it through spelling and go, oh, it's that version of rack, and understand it better. Anyway, that's why I'm a proponent of, like, I know people always make that argument. They'll be like, oh, Merriam-Webster now accepts this. Merriam-Webster now accepts that. They're not accepting it and saying it's correct or better. They're saying when a lot of people say this or write this, they mean this thing. Here's the definition of what they mean. They're not saying this is the optimal user. We've decided this is fine. That's not what it is. They're just like, yeah, enough people spell it this way that we can define it because we see it in that usage a lot. That's all. That's all that Merriam-Webster is saying. Right, common usage. They're just like, that's what that means if we're trying to associate this spelling and this word with what people mean by it when they say it. It's this. That's all. And it's, for me, you know, I like to be a hard ass about spelling or using the right version of a word or whatever, because a lot of the time these small differences exist because English is so complex. And if you don't differentiate a lot of things, then you get a lot of things mixed up and it makes the language harder for people to understand. So yeah, English is hard, Dayo. It's a kind of language, so that's why I'm always like, I think it's better to be really particular about grammar and spelling and all that, because for people who this is not their first language, making sure everything is slightly differentiated helps them understand what the is on the paper. But when you have everything like be spelled the same way and you spell things incorrectly, you just accept it, you know, it just complicates it for no reason and it makes it harder for those people. Yeah, English is a vibe language. It's true.